HarperCollins presents One Summer in Italy by Sue Moorcroft, narrated by Helen Johns. Prologue. July. Don't mope, Sofia. Non frignare. Sofia jumped out of her reverie. She hadn't realized her dad, Aldo, was awake. His eyes had been closed for ages, the steady hiss of oxygen a contrast to his ragged breathing. She edged her chair closer, glad to see a twinkle in Aldo's dark eyes. I'm not moping. I'm a bit worried about you, that's all. We worry about each other, don't we? That's how it works. He met her smile with one of his own. Aldo had a beautiful, mischievous smile, spoiled now by the odd colour of his lips as his heart failed. I don't mean now. I want you to promise you won't mope when I'm not here. His voice still sang with the rhythms of Italy, but his English was fluent after living in the UK for more than 30 years. Sofia was so used to hearing both languages from him that she sometimes scarcely noticed which he was speaking. It had brought him comfort in these last few years to roll Italian lovingly around his mouth, as well as allowing her to practice her grasp of one half of her family's mother tongue. Not that she'd met any of her family, on either side, apart from her parents. The smiles she'd summoned up for him wavered. Promise, he insisted gently. It was obviously so important to him that she nodded. I'll try. No, you must promise. You've given up so many years to being my carer. I don't want you to be trapped in this house anymore. She swallowed the fruitless urge to demand that he live forever. Okay, I promise. Leaving the house in Bedford, the only home she'd ever known, would be taken out of her hands anyway. She hadn't stressed Aldo by telling him about the builder who'd inspected the big crack running up the dining room wall and into Sofia's bedroom above. The builder had recommended an engineer's report. He thought the house had subsidence, and Sofia already knew that it needed a new roof and had woodworm. When Aldo's health had taken this recent grave turn, she'd been nerving herself to reveal that they needed to put the house on the market, in the hope that a developer would buy it as a project, and she and Aldo would receive only a proportion of what they considered its worth. Money had become the least of her worries. He gave a slow, satisfied nod, his gaze unwavering. And promise me you'll get out and do all the things young single women do. Travel. You've always wanted to travel, and instead you've stayed to help me. Go and have fun. Dad, I don't want you to feel... I don't feel anything you don't want me to feel, he assured her with a dismissive wave. He made a mock, reproving face. But this is the dying wish of your papa. You must promise. She'd often shared with him her fantasy of getting on the plane from Stansted Airport for breakfast and arriving at a pavement cafe in Italy in time for lunch, even before his health had made such an adventure impossible. Sofia grinned, though her eyes swam. Half her life he'd cared for her, and half her life she'd cared for him, latterly in his hospital-style bed, in the front room, with the oxygen cylinders located behind it. Okay, if you'll stoop to emotional blackmail, you old fox, I promise. Aldo's laugh creaked out into his oxygen mask, fogging it up. Promise me you'll visit Monte Libertà. As you have no family in England, I'd like you to see the town where I was born. Lay flowers for your grandparents. He sighed. His breathing hitched, faltered, began again. A tear leaked onto Sofia's cheek, but she fell back on black humour, their coping mechanism through all the operations and treatments that had bought them time. Till now. Just how many dying wishes does one papa get? His eyes closed, but his smile flickered. Molti. Molti. I wish you could have met your Italian family. Despite Aldo's condition, Sofia's interests
Sample complete. Ready to continue?